Hi, I'm Dr. Mona Singh, founder of the Pain-Free Body. Now today, I'm going to bust a myth that just stretching your back helps get rid of back pain, when in reality it might only offer temporary relief and you're back to square one when the pain returns. And I'll show you what to do instead to remove that frustration and get lasting relief. So when your ankles, your knees, your hips and your shoulders function well and when they're balanced, your spine will have a natural S-curve and the entire spine can fluidly bend, flex, twist without any symptoms, without any limitations and without any pain. But when the muscles don't function well, perhaps from years of sedentary living, lots of sitting down, maybe working in the office, spending a lot of time sitting in front of a computer, you can lose this S-curve in the spine completely and it forms more of a C-curve. And that comes with a flat back and a posterior pelvic tilt, where the pelvis tilts backwards. Now, when your spine loses these favourable S-curves over time, your body resorts to this kind of last-ditch effort of contracting and tensing the muscles that surround the spine, the hips and the shoulders, in an attempt to kind of lock down your movement. It's a sort of a protective mechanism to reduce movement in an area that's lost its favourable alignment and function. It's a way to prevent you doing any damage to an area that's lost its flexibility, its natural mobility, strength and stability. And as a result, most people feel this as tightness in their lower back and they think that their back hurts because it's tight. Yet that tightness, in most cases, can actually be the only thing that's protecting your spine from further damage or further movement that could cause pain, damage and injury. So an example of this is someone who might have lower back pain, but they're stretching over and over day after day to release that feeling of tightness, but they're not really getting any looser. And actually they might even get worse and the pain and the symptoms get worse the more that they stretch, only for the pain to, if it does get any relief, they do get any relief, only for the pain to come back and they're back to square one. So the solution to getting rid of this back pain once and for all is not about finding this magic stretch or strengthening the back or just focusing everything on the back. That pelvis, that posterior pelvic tilt, that spine that's lost its natural S-curve is a reaction to what's going on in the whole body. So getting rid of back pain requires a whole body approach. Restoring the natural curve to the spine, rebalancing a posterior pelvis to a more neutral position needs the ankles, the knees, the hips and the shoulders and the spine to function properly together. That allows the spine to return to a functional S shape, the natural S shape in the spine, and that central nervous system can release that tight protective mechanism that is put in place to restrict any movement in the back. And as a result, that feeling of tightness and the pain in the back disappears. So restoring natural alignment, restoring natural function to all the joints in the body allows the pelvis to neutralize, allows the spine to restore its natural S-curve and allows pain to disappear. And this can be a simple way to understand why there's a lot of people going through my pain-free movement program at the moment and they're focusing on restoring full body movement and they're seeing massive changes in their symptoms, in their flexibility, in their spinal alignment without any focus on stretching the back. So here's a simple routine that works on the whole body to help you if you have back pain and if you have a posterior pelvic tilt or a flat lower back. And pay special attention to the form that I show in the exercises, because how you do the exercises is a secret sauce and will get you better results. And also, if any of the exercises cause you pain, skip it, move to the next one. And particularly if you haven't functioned well in a while, you might experience a little bit of discomfort just because of the body that you're bringing to the exercises. But that'll change over time. Use your best judgment and don't force through anything. And if you like these exercises, if they get you relief, then click the link in the description to find out more about the pain-free movement program and how it can help you live your life without pain. So let's get into it. Begin by laying on your back with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor. Your feet are hip width apart and your feet are pointing straight ahead. And by that, I mean that the outside edge of your foot is pointing straight ahead and your big toe is slightly pigeon-toed. From here, let's begin to move your pelvis. Gently roll your pelvis forward and feel your lower back arch, and then roll your pelvis backwards, and the lower back is going to flatten. You can put your hands on your pelvis to feel this movement happening. And we're doing this really slowly, going backwards and forwards with the pelvis. The goal here is not about how high or low you can go with your pelvis. We're just looking to get that pelvis rocking around a horizontal axis, which is one of the natural movements the pelvis should be able to do. Now, as you're doing this, if you've not done this before, or you're very early on in restoring your function, you might notice that your lower back is helping out to tilt your pelvis forward, and your abs are rolling your pelvis back. And this is what happens when you lose function to your hips, and your core and your back sort of have to hijack the motion just for your pelvis to move. We're going really slowly, rocking that pelvis forwards and then rocking it backwards. The upper body is relaxed. There's nothing for your upper body, your shoulders, your neck to do here. So keep everything nice and relaxed. Breathe into your diaphragm, nice and slow. So if you are feeling your lower back or your abs trying to help you out, the goal here is to change that. When you roll your pelvis back, your glutes should be doing the work. When you roll your pelvis forwards, your hip flexors, the front of the hip, should roll the pelvis forward. So a proper pelvic tilt is the glutes and the hip flexors rocking the pelvis backwards and forwards. You might feel the abs helping you move. You might feel your lower back helping you move your pelvis forward, but they're not the primary drivers of this movement here. The glutes and the hip flexors are the primary movers that should control the position of your pelvis. Keep breathing here. If you're having a hard time to find these muscles, then it might explain why your pelvis is in the position it's in and the symptoms you might be feeling, because your abs and your lower back have had to take on responsibility of moving your pelvis. So in this exercise, it's about getting your pelvis to move around your hips, as opposed to a lot of other exercises which are about getting your hips to move within your pelvis. Keep breathing, keep your feet grounded. You're not pushing into your feet to get momentum. All the movement is happening at the pelvis, gently pivoting, hinging on the floor. And pay attention to whether you feel both sides moving together, or if one side is slightly ahead. Ideally, we want to stay in this exercise until we feel both sides moving together. But work within your limits today, and over time, you'll notice your mobility increases and you get equal movement on both sides. We're not squeezing our abs here, we're not squeezing our glutes or our pelvic floor. We are only hinging on the pelvis. 30 seconds left to go here. Keep breathing, keep your upper body relaxed. It's not trying to help you out, only your pelvis is rocking gently and slowly backwards and forwards. And that's time. Great job. Lie on your back with your legs extended long and your arms out to the side at 45 degrees, palms face up. Your arms are not out at 90 degrees, so that brings the shoulders up to the ears, which is not what we want for this exercise. From here, bring the soles of your feet together. And as you do this, you'll feel your pelvis naturally tilt forward. This is what we want. You're not using your abdominals or your lower back or anything to force this position. It's just a natural reaction of the pelvis to the position of your legs. From here, keep all your toes in contact from your big toe all the way round to your little toe, and keep your heels in contact as well. So you're keeping your whole foot active here. All the toes are touching, the heels are touching, and you're maintaining a light push through the whole of the foot. So I'm gently pressing my feet together through the heel and all the toes. Now from here, you might need to play around a little with the distance of your feet from your body. I'm going to push my feet a little further away from my body to create a little more challenge to keep my feet together. If my feet are really close to my bum, that's going to be really easy, and it's not going to create the change we want and open up the hips in the right way. So move your feet away until you find that spot where you feel your feet and your legs are working to hold your feet together. And remember to keep all toes in contact as well as your heels together. So once you've found the position that works for you, focus on keeping the feet together and not letting them come apart. It'll feel a little like hard work to keep those feet together if you found the right spot. Keep your upper body relaxed. It shouldn't be trying to help you out. If it is, you've gone too far with your legs, so bring your legs a little closer to your body to relax the upper body. We only want the work to be happening through our feet and up to our hips. We'll be here for 3 minutes. Breathing in and out of your nose and into your diaphragm. Keeping your upper body relaxed. Your focus is on your feet. Keeping your soles of your feet together all the way from the big toe to the little toe and your heels together. Don't worry about where your knees are. The goal is not to see how wide they can go. The activity of your feet is the focus of this exercise. Keep your belly relaxed, upper body relaxed, keeping a nice, gentle, natural forward tilt in your pelvis. Nice, slow, natural breathing into your diaphragm. You might feel your legs start wobbling or trembling. Now that's totally fine. It's a good sign that you're waking up your feet and you're starting to create a hip release through what your feet are doing and where your pelvis is being held. So releasing the hips is not about cranking on those hip flexors with intense stretches. We're using our feet to create balance in the pelvis, as well as a more balanced femur position, which opens up the hip flexors as a result of that footwork and pelvis position. We've done 1.5 minutes here. Now, don't worry if you don't feel anything in your hip flexors, if you're not feeling any release or stretching going on. It just means you need to spend time coming back to this exercise day after day. This exercise is still working in the background in your body. Coming up to 2 minutes. You may also feel work going on in the arches of your feet, your shins, your calves. You're essentially waking up the muscles of your foot and the lower leg, which is a really good thing. So we've got about 45 seconds left here. Keep breathing. Keep your belly relaxed, upper body relaxed, shoulders relaxed. Keeping nice contact between all your toes, even your little toes, big toes together, heels together. Any cramping you feel is okay. It's also a good sign that you're waking up muscles, and any wobbling or trembling is also good. We've got 10 seconds left here. Keep breathing nice and gently into the diaphragm. And that's time. Great job, relax off. If you tend to have an excessive arch in your lower back, you can do this without towels. But if you seem to have a flat back, you can gently put rolled up towels to support your lower back and your neck. Either way, regardless of if your back is flat or extended, explore both these options to understand what your body needs the most. So take your 2 rolled up towels and place one underneath your lower back, directly below your belly button, and place the other behind your neck. The towel should be large enough to press slightly into your spine, but not too thick where it's uncomfortable and forcing your spine forward. The goal is that the towel acts as a support to gently encourage the natural curves in your spine. This exercise is going to take a little bit of time to figure out what feels best for your body, but trust me, it's going to be worth it. From here, lie on your back with one leg raised up over a chair or a platform that puts it at a relaxed 90-degree angle at both the hip and the knee. You might want to put a cushion on the chair to allow that leg to relax, so there's no work, no tension needed to hold it in place. The other leg should be straight out in front of you on the floor, and I don't want any work to be in the leg that's straight out. Sometimes wearing a shoe can actually help keep your foot in a straight position because the shoe gives you a lot of support, but play around with this with shoes or no shoes, or having your foot straight up against a wall like here. The straight leg should be completely relaxed without you having to use any muscles at all to hold it up. From here, hold this position for the recommended duration of time. Now, there's a lot of things going on in this exercise, but to keep this really simple, you've got one leg over a chair or a structure, and you've got one leg straight out. Now, this is essentially what happens when you walk. You've got one hip bent and one hip in extension, opening up. We're putting you in a walking position but laying down on your back, and the leg that's open and extending, that straight leg that's on the ground, the muscles in that leg will have to lengthen in a very passive, relaxed, subtle, gentle way. This is the world's greatest hip flexor stretch because it uses time and alignment and gravity to truly restore the proper length-tension relationship of all the muscles in the front of the leg. And as that straight leg opens up and releases, the leg that's over the chair will also get a release as it's bent at a 90-degree angle at the hip and the knee. So in 2 different ways, you're bringing release to both hips. And pay attention to how you feel on both sides. You can hold this anywhere from 10 to 15 to 20, even 30 minutes per leg. And a really great trick to understand the time that you need is with that straight leg, squeeze your quad, and when you tighten up your quad, the contraction should be right in the middle of the thigh, that front thigh muscle. If you feel like the contraction is anywhere else, in the lower knee, the kneecap, the upper hip, maybe the abs or the lower back, that tells us that this hip has not fully released. So every 5 minutes, I want you to squeeze your quad and then let it relax. Where is that contraction and how is that changing every time you check in? And you might find that the contraction is in the kneecap for the first 2 check-ins when you start at 0 minutes and then at the 5-minute mark. But when you get to the 3rd check-in at 10 minutes, you feel that that has started to change and it's moving gently up towards the center of the thigh. So let's say that you have to do 15 minutes on one leg to get that contraction in the middle of the thigh, but on the other side, the contraction happens in the middle of the leg within the first check-in or 2. So it takes a shorter amount of time. I still want you to keep a balanced approach. You want to give both legs the same amount of attention. If you use an imbalanced approach, you'll get imbalanced results. So give both legs the same time and attention, and take your time with this exercise. It might seem very simple, but there is a lot going on here. There's a lot to understand, to learn, to listen, to tune into in your body whilst you're lying here in this peaceful, mindful exercise. And you're going to start to feel things that perhaps you've never felt before. So relax, breathe into your diaphragm, expand your diaphragm, take the breathing out of your chest and down into your diaphragm. Feel your diaphragm expand up and down behind you and left to right. So you can use this exercise as a tool to learn more about your body, and you can do it in a way that an intense exercise could never ever teach you to. So take your time, breathe, and listen to what your body's telling you. If you like this video, subscribe for new videos every week.